want to just talk for a second about the last 3 years that I've been involved in this issue. There's a lot of things that happen here in Olympia that disturb me. You know, you have different policy debates over taxes and budgets and policies for labor and all sorts of different things that happen here. Good people can agree or disagree on those things. But every single night that I've went home to my home over the last 3 years, this is the issue that I think about when I look at myself in the mirror and I have to rectify with myself all of the decisions I've made as one of the over 100 lawmakers here in Olympia. I take on my portion of responsibility for the children that are in our care in this state. And it is unacceptable to have a state government that acts in a neglectful way and leaves innocent babies and toddlers in homes to potentially die or nearly die because of the scourge of fentanyl and other hard drugs in our state. And so I have to look at myself in the mirror and think about all of these names. And it started 3 years ago with a little girl named Oakley Carlson. You guys remember Oakley Carlson?
Yes!
We're not going to forget her either, because she was ripped from perfectly good foster care and she was sent back to her biological parents, where she was presumably murdered by her biological parents. That did not have to happen. The Keeping Families Together Act was passed. Some would say it had some good intentions behind it. We didn't want to disproportionately remove minority children from minority homes. But you know what happens sometimes is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
And right now what we see is a record amount of child fatalities in our state that is completely preventable and completely unacceptable.
Yes.
A couple years ago, I joined our friends at WFSE, the State Federation of State Employees, at their annual meeting. And I stood there for 5 straight hours answering the questions of all of the union social workers until literally my legs felt like wet noodles from standing there so long. And I would just be honest and say that I don't know that every social worker in Washington State is a conservative like I am, but it did not matter. It did not matter, because these people are on the front lines and they didn't choose to get rich. They didn't choose to have these lavish careers. They chose to help kids in our state. And when I had something like 40 or 50 union social workers who are on the front lines cry on my shoulder for all of those hours, it broke my heart. Because when you have social workers who have caseloads of 30, 40, 50, and they know that when they go back to that home the next day the baby will be dead, that is something that we cannot allow in our state anymore. And we have to listen. And Tracy is right. This is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. This is not a left versus right issue. This is a right versus wrong issue. At the end of the day, we have one mission. And if we don't accomplish that mission, then the session gavels out and ends. And we can bet our bottom dollar that we will see another 100 child deaths until the next session occurs. And that is unacceptable. We need to laser focus on one thing and one thing only. That to remove a child from the home does not require imminent physical harm. That it requires serious physical harm. You know, oftentimes I look at these fatality reports, and of course, the name of the child is redacted because we don't publish the name of the child. And I understand that. You don't necessarily want to give the name of the child in the public record. But you know what? That redacted child's name, that black line in that government report is how sometimes I feel the legislature has treated these kids. They have their whole lives ahead of them, oftentimes born addicted to drugs. But they were snuffed out, and I remember the names. It's not just Oakley Carlson, it's Ariel Garcia, who was stabbed over 50 times by his mother. It's the little girl in Tri-Cities who died with 2 fentanyl pills shoved up her nose while her parents were smoking fentanyl in the bathroom. It's the little boy in Whatcom County who got a hold of his dad's fentanyl straw and overdosed and died. It's the 3 babies in Everett that died or that overdosed all in the same day last summer. And you know what? Of those babies that didn't die, they were sent immediately back to their fentanyl abusing parents.
Yes.
That's wrong.
Yes.
It's the little baby in Port Townsend with no name who was murdered by his fentanyl abusing dad and thrown into the bushes. Like that baby and that life did not even matter.
Yes.
This kind of stuff is wrong, and now we have reached a precipice. And Democrats and Republicans here in the legislature are beginning to unite around fixing this travesty. Well, let me challenge you with this. I'm so happy to see all of you here, but where I need to see you next is in these halls. I need to see you meeting with people, and I need to see you talking to these legislators. Do not finger point and do not blame, because it is not about blame and looking back in the past. It is about fixing the future for these kids. So go to the 3rd floor of that John L. O'Brien building, and go to the 4th floor of that John L. O'Brien building. Catch these legislators. Hey, can I ask you about the Keeping Families Together Act? Do you want to help these kids? Do you want to make sure that we don't have a 200% increase in child fatalities? Do you want to make sure we hold the agency, Department of Children, Youth, and Families accountable? Do you want to make sure that judges actually remove the children from these dangerous situations? And as much as the Keeping Families Together Act had an intention of making sure we didn't remove minority children from minority homes, that what we see in reality right now is a disproportionate death of minority children in minority homes. And this is a time for choosing. We can choose. Are we going to save these kids, or are we going to not do it at all and allow another year to go by with another 100+ child fatalities in our state? And I say no. I have cleared everything. This is my top priority this session, because a state that cannot protect its kids, ones that are being abused and neglected in homes with hard drug abuse, is a state that doesn't have the moral authority to do anything else.